This is like, it's all a part of this like endless cycle of integration in the great universe.
Next up, Joe Rogan is mind blown by Graham Hancock's theory of the Sphinx being built before the ancient Egyptian civilization. This is a conversation from episode 1897 with Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson.
So when you're talking about the Nile and we're talking about ancient Egypt, how far back do you think that goes?
Oh, I think the Nile goes back a very, very, very long way. The Nile River system 12,500 years ago looked much the same as it does today.
The continent of Africa suffered much less from sea level rise compared to the other continents 12,000 years ago, so the Nile River system hasn't changed much from then, if at all.
The big difference was that the Sahara Desert was green and fertile.
And this coincides with Dr. Robert Schoch's assertion that when you look at the Temple of the Sphinx, you're dealing with thousands of years of water erosion.
Yes.
And the last time there was water like that in the Nile Valley was when?
It's here Joe Rogan asks when and how the Nile Valley could have seen such large rainfall to cause water erosion. Hancock mentions the Younger Dryas.
The last time you had the water erosion like that in the Nile Valley was precisely during the Younger Dryas. The Younger Dryas was a period of extremely heavy rains in Africa, and it's rainfall, it's erosion caused by heavy rains that is the enigma on the Great Sphinx. We're not saying that there was a flood came over the Great Sphinx. What Robert Schoch is saying, and what his evidence clearly demonstrates, is that we're looking at what's called precipitation-induced weathering.
Take a look at these images of the Sphinx. Here you can see the water erosion Hancock proposes. Hancock explores evidence that this weathering from rainfall must have occurred over the span of 1,000 years, which only could be possible during the Younger Dryas period 12,000 years ago, questioning whether the Sphinx is 4,500 years old, as most historians believe.
Weathering that was caused by exposure to about 1,000 years of extremely heavy rainfall. And Dr. Robert Schoch puts that 1,000 years precisely in the Younger Dryas period. That's the last time that rains of that magnitude fell on Egypt, and it's why we cannot sensibly accept the insistence of Egyptologists that the Sphinx is just 4,500 years old.